Good evening, y'all. It's Sunday, May 16th. Welcome back to another edition of the Wildcats and Then Some podcast. This is your number one host for all things Kentucky Wildcats, NBA, NFL, pop culture. If you want it, I got it here at the Wildcats and Then Some podcast. I'm your host, Deshaun. How are y'all doing this Sunday evening? Well, Kentucky, 2021 hasn't been a very good year for us. I mean, we lost Terrence Clark as well as we lost Terrence Clark to a car accident. We lost some players due to transfer, but it's gonna be okay, guys. If you haven't heard by now, we got another transfer, C.J. Frederick from Iowa. Now, C.J. Frederick was a big he was a big get for us because we need shooters. Last year, when we finished our season 9-16 or whatever, we was I believe out of the 300 D1 basketball programs, Kentucky was ranked like 220 in terms of 3-point shooting percentage. Yeah, we was terrible, but that should change next year. I mean, not only did we have C.J. Frederick, we also went out and we got added Kellen Grady, and we also got one of the top point guards from the class of 2021 in Ty Washington. Now, again, C.J. Frederick was a big get for us because we desperately need shooters. Last year at Iowa, C.J. Frederick I think he shot 42% from the 3-point line, which is great. Um, the good thing about CJ, he doesn't have to have the ball in his hands at all times in order to be effective. He can play off the ball, or if you put the ball in his hands, he can create a little bit. And another, Kellen Grady also, who played at Davidson last year, who was a grad student transfer. I believe he shot 38% from the 3-point line last year, but for his career, he's at like 40%. Oh, and we still have Dante Allen. Um, Hopefully, Davian Mintz comes back, but right now, I don't know. I mean, I haven't heard anything different, but hopefully he comes back. I mean, we do have a point guard. I mean, we got Ty Washington, who's a 5-star player. I believe he's ranked 12th in the country now, but we still need another point guard, you know what I mean? In case Ty's in foul trouble or if God forbid, was to get hurt, somebody got to be able to run the offense. So hopefully Davian Mintz comes back. Now, from what I'm hearing, Severe Wheeler, the point guard from Georgia, is going to transfer to Kentucky, which I'm okay with that, but if Severe Wheeler is going to get on the floor for us, he got to be able to shoot. Last year at Georgia, I think he shot about 28% from the 3-point line. That's not gonna cut it. You're gonna have to. I hope wherever you go, whether it's Kentucky or whether you stay at Georgia, you work on that 3-point shot. Because yeah, if you come to Kentucky, we definitely gonna need you for that 3-point shot. And yeah, your experience will definitely help us too. So, I mean, if Severe Wheeler comes, I mean, I'll be happy. I ain't gonna be like, I don't want him. He should go away. But yeah, just Severe. If you do decide to come to Kentucky, please work on that shot. I mean, he ain't gotta be a sniper from the 3-point line like Steph and Curry, but just be a passable 3-point shooter. Um, Again, Kentucky landed Ty Washington, which that's a big fucking deal because we lost Nolan Hickman. Hickman was gonna be our point guard next year, but he decided to decommit, and now he's gonna go to Gonzaga, which I mean that's fine with me. Gonzaga is not one of our rivals. Gonzaga is not a team that we're going to face in the regular season. So it's all good. Hopefully, Nolan Hickman will go out there and do pretty good and then go on to the NBA. I mean, I think yeah, him and Chet Holmgren, they're gonna be fun to watch. Just wait for it. But I mean, now that we have a point guard, now that we have some better shooters, I feel a little bit better about Kentucky. Before, when Nolan Hickman decommitted and we didn't have C.J. Frederick, we didn't get Ty Washington, I wasn't feeling too confident about Kentucky next year. I mean, because we only had literally we had 4 new players coming in. We had Damian Collins, who will be a freshman, Bryce Hopkins, who will be a freshman, and then the transfers Kellen Grady and Oscar Toshibwe. But yeah, I mean, since then, I mean, we added Ty and we added CJ, so Yeah, I feel a little bit better about Kentucky next year. Now, are we gonna be a championship team? I don't know. I mean, right now I'm not even gonna say nothing because last last year when we landed Olivier Sarr and we got we had the number one rated recruiting class, I was thinking it was Final Four bust for Kentucky, but that prediction came back and bit me in the ass. So I'm gonna be ho hum about any predictions right now. I mean, I do think we'll be better. We'll be a lot better than 9-16, but I'm not gonna predict whether we're gonna be a Final Four team or not. Not yet, at least. Because I mean, I just ain't seen enough of these players. Like Damian Collins, yeah, he's tall, athletic, good shot blocker, but he'll be a raw. Ty Washington, he's a pretty good athlete, score on all three levels. He's a capable 3-point shooter. But I mean, being good in high school don't always translate to college, but that typically hasn't been too much of a problem for Kentucky. So I do think Ty is going to perform well. Hopefully Dante Allen will get more playing time and be better next year. Hopefully CJ will see a lot of minutes too, because we're going to need all the shooting we can get. Finishing 200th, 220th or whatever in the nation in 3-point shooting percentage, that ain't going to cut it. So I'm just gonna say this: Kentucky next year will be a tournament team. Kentucky, I can at least see them making the Sweet 16 or the Elite Eight. Because every other year that we've been in the tournament, I mean, we've gotten at least to the Elite Eight. I mean, yeah, we went to the Final Four in 2011, won the championship in 12. We haven't been to the Final Four though since 2015, but hopefully that'll change next year. Because number 9, it's been a long time coming. We gotta get that. We gotta get number 9 soon. Because who knows? I mean, Duke, as long as Coach K is there, they still gonna be. They're still gonna be in contention, pretty much. Is North Carolina? Well, I mean, Roy Williams retired. I mean, we don't know how good of a coach Hubert Davis is going to be, but I mean, North Carolina isn't too far behind us. I think they got 6, and then there's Kansas who has 3. But I mean, Bill Self's a good coach. He has them in the tournament every year. Now, is he gonna? He hasn't won a championship since '08. I mean, that was also his only championship, but anything can happen, especially in a tournament where it's one and done. So, yeah, hopefully next year. Well, I'm optimistic that next year will be a better season, but hopefully it'll result in a Final Four or champ. Hopefully it'll result in a championship, but hopefully, if not, I mean, if we at least make it to the Final Four, it won't be a complete failure of a season like it was this past year. Um, I don't know if I gave a shout out to the UK women's volleyball team last week or 2 weeks ago when I recorded, but shout out to the volleyball team. Y'all won the national championship, first one in school history. Yeah, Louisville fans insist that Kentucky is only good at basketball, but that's not true. I mean, our volleyball team just won the national championship. The rifle team has won multiple, I think 2 or 3 national championships. Kentucky's football team, yeah, we're not Alabama. We ain't nowhere close to it, but we've been to a bowl game every year for the last 5, I think, and I think we've won 3 of those 5 bowl games. So, I mean, our football program is solid. I mean, it's the best in the state of Kentucky. Yeah, we are better than you, Louisville, even though y'all don't want to admit it. We got the better athletic program. That's pretty much what I'm getting at. So, suck it, Louisville. Anyways, y'all, moving on. The NBA season is almost over. A lot of big storylines. I mean, the Lakers currently are, I think, 7th place in the Western Conference. If if LeBron and AD didn't get hurt, Lakers would have still been top 2. At the worst, they would have been top 4. But when LeBron got hurt, AD got hurt, and both of them together missed over a month of basketball, the Lakers went on a little free fall. But surprisingly, they didn't fall completely out of the playoff picture. But I mean, here we are, last game of the regular season. If the Lakers win and the Blazers lose, the Lakers will get the 6th seed and they'll avoid the play-in tournament. Now, if the Lakers win and the Blazers win their game too, then Blazers, excuse me, then the Lakers will have to play in the play-in tournament. Now, me personally, I kind of like it. You got the 7 through 10 seeds battling a one game tournament in order to determine who gets the 7 and 8 seeds. Now, for the 7-8 matchup, it's pretty simple. The winner gets the 7 seed. Now, as for the 8 seed, the loser of the 7-8 matchup has to play the winner of the 9-10 matchup. The loser of the 9-10 matchup is done. So, I mean, the Lakers, that's the situation they don't want to be in. So, I mean, I do believe if the Lakers do end up having to go in the play-in tournament, that they will win their game. They will get that 7 seed. They'll take care of business. Now, can the Lakers repeat as a 7 seed? I mean, I think so. Just as long as LeBron and AD don't re-aggravate their injuries, I mean, they've got a good chance of getting back to the turn. Excuse me. They have a good chance of getting back to the NBA Finals and winning it. I mean, who is there anyone in the NBA that can beat the Lakers when the Lakers are fully healthy? Maybe Brooklyn, but that's it. The only My only hang up with Brooklyn is Harden, KD, and Kyrie. They've only played 7 games together. So I mean, is the chemistry? Are they going to be able to develop that chemistry throughout the course of the playoffs in order to get to the championship and potentially knock off the Lakers? I don't know, but be an interesting storyline to keep up with. Another interesting NBA story that I've been hearing is Curry for MVP. All throughout social media, whether it's Facebook groups, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, people are saying Curry should win MVP. And now for me, I'm just like, hold up, time out, pump the brakes, stop, shh, no. Yeah, I'm not saying that to hate on Curry. Curry had a hell of a season. He finished the season leading the league in scoring. He broke some more 3-point records. I think he made 9 threes today against the Grizzlies and scored 46 points or something like that. But it ain't enough to me. Like, I'm not saying that to be a hater, but Golden State is in 8th place. Ain't no you're not an if you're on an 8th place team, you don't deserve to be the MVP. I don't care if you put up video game like numbers. You ain't winning MVP if your team is in 8th place. Now, that's just me though. I mean, if I had an MVP vote, I wouldn't consider giving anyone a vote if their team is not at least in 4th place. I mean, yeah, people could say, "Oh, but Curry done put all these big numbers. He led the league in scoring." I mean, if you take him off the Warriors would be the worst team in the league. Well, hell, I mean, if Curry deserves to be the MVP because the Warriors would suck without him, then shit. LeBron James should have won the last 5 MVPs. Because, hell, Lakers ain't winning no championships without LeBron. Now, yes, they do have AD, but AD alone is not going to put them over the top and make them a championship team. So, yeah. I mean, if you're going to say Curry deserves MVP because the Warriors would suck without him, then shoot. Give LeBron more MVPs. Because, hell, you take him off the Lakers, you take him off those Cavs teams his second time around, they won't be any good without him. And another thing, Curry, he literally has to put up those video game like numbers just so the Warriors can win. Because who else on the Warriors is worth a damn? I mean, Andrew Wiggins, I mean, he alright, don't get me wrong, but Andrew Wiggins ain't no star. And then they got, Draymond Green, the most overrated player in the NBA. I mean, just my personal opinion. Now, yeah, it's funny. Now, I'm not saying Draymond Green is bad. That's not what I'm saying at all. I don't think he sucks. I don't think he's trash. I just don't think he's as good as everyone claims he is. That's all I'm saying. Like, there's these dudes, like, in this Facebook group that I'm in, that try to say that Draymond Green is a star player, and I'm just like, how? He's not a star. He ain't worth a shit if Curry and Clay are not out there with him. I mean, to me, a star player is somebody who, if you was to put them on the worst team in the league or one of the bottom 5 teams in the league, can they still put up big numbers? Can they still perform like an all-star? If the answer is yes, then that player is a star. If the answer is no, then they're not a star. I mean, I know it seems rather simple, but really, if we was to put Draymond Green on the the Rockets, they had the worst record this year. If we was to put him on the Rockets or the Timberwolves, the Pistons, do you really think Draymond Green is still gonna produce if you put him on any of those teams? Hell no, he won't. I mean, this isn't hyperbole. This isn't speculation. This is just truth. I mean, look at what he did last year when he didn't have Curry and Clay. He sucked. The only time you heard Draymond Green's name was when he was getting thrown out of games because he was arguing with the refs. Draymond Green, look, there's nothing wrong with being a role player. It's okay to be a role player. Draymond Green is a good role player. He's just not a star like some people try to claim he is. I mean, that's all I'm saying. Yeah, like it's just funny that people think that dude's a star. Like he's not. You mean you can't? He's not gonna produce if you put him on the Detroit Pistons or the Rockets. He has to have Curry out there with him in order to look good. It is what it is. It's just how it goes. Every team needs role players, but yeah, Draymond Green's a good role player. He's just overrated and overglorified because there are people who literally say stuff like, "Oh, if Draymond Green, the Warriors don't win those championships without Draymond Green," and I'm just like, really? You're telling me the Warriors wouldn't have won any of those three championships without Draymond Green? Like, man, get the fuck out of here. I mean, he definitely helped, but Golden State would have been just fine without Draymond Green. He's expendable. Curry is not. Golden State had Stephen Curry and Kevin Durant when they won their second and third championships. That's two superstars right there. That's two MVPs right there. But oh yeah, they're not gonna win without Draymond Green. Even though they got two MVPs in their starting line. Man, get the fuck out of here. Golden State would have won the second and third championship without Draymond Green. Now the first one, yeah, they probably would have won that one without Draymond Green too. Because LeBron was out there with a bunch of role players. Kevin Love was already hurt. And then Kyrie Irving got hurt in game one. Golden State, yeah, Draymond Green definitely helped, but Golden State would have won those championships without him. Like, I don't care what you say. They would have won without him. Especially when you had two fucking MVPs in your lineup and Kevin Durant and Stephen Curry. Now, would it have been harder? Yeah, it would have been a little bit harder, but to say that Draymond Green was the difference between them winning and losing, that's just, don't make me laugh. That shit's just funny. Golden State would have been fine without Draymond Green. Now, would they have won without Curry? I doubt it. I mean, hell, they wouldn't have been a playoff team without Curry. Or, I mean, yeah, even if Kevin Durant was still there, yeah, Durant could have led Golden State to the playoffs, but I mean, without a star like Curry, I don't know if Durant would have led them to a championship, but y'all gotta stop that bullshit saying that Draymond Green is the main reason Golden State won those championships. No, he's not. Well, yes, he's a glue guy. Yes, it's you need role players because the whole team can't be full of stars, but stop overrating that man. He's not that good. I mean, the funny thing about this is like I was in the Facebook group and I told some guy, I said Draymond Green's not a star. Man, he argued with me as well as 20 other people for 24 fucking hours talking about, yeah, he is a star. And I'm just like, why are you bitching about it? Draymond Green is a role player. That's okay. And this dude gonna get mad at me and be like, oh, here's my address. Like, the fuck you give me your address for, man? I ain't nobody threatened you. All I said was Draymond Green is not a star. Like, chill the fuck out. It ain't that serious. But yeah, Draymond Green. Oh yeah, he's a star, even though he couldn't take a team to the playoffs if he was the main guy. Fuck out of here. Cause yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Draymond Green, the 3 years that he made it to the All Star game, yes, he played pretty good, and one could say he deserved to be in the All Star game. But Draymond Green at this point in his career is not an All Star. Like, you're not an all star if you played at an all star level for 3 years, but then the rest of your career you was a damn role player. Like it is what it is. Because Draymond Green, he's been in the league for 9 years, and besides those 3 years where he made the All Star game, Draymond Green was a damn role player. I know some people will be like, oh, but he didn't come. He wasn't a starter when he first came in the league. Oh, but he wasn't. Everybody can't be a star from day one. Yeah, I know. I know everybody can't be a star from day one, but look at Paul George. Look at Kawhi Leonard. Both of them were role players when they came into the league, but once they hit that stardom, they stayed up there. They didn't come back down to the level of a role player like what Draymond Green did. I mean, Paul George, yeah, Paul George, I think, yeah, his first 2, 3 years, he was a role player. He was getting his feet wet. But once Paul George became a star, yeah, it was over. He climbed that ladder. He stayed at the top. Now, would I call Paul George a superstar? Nah. I mean, but he is an all star. I mean, if he doesn't choke in the playoffs, shit, Clippers might win the championship. Because, yeah, Kawhi, now there's a guy who went from role player to all star to superstar. And just like Paul George, once Kawhi Leonard hit that star status, he stayed there and never came back down. But yeah, Draymond Green, he was a role player, came up to the level of an all star, and then went back down to a role player. That's not a star, especially considering that Draymond Green has not made the All Star game in 3 years. He hasn't played at an All Star level in 3 years. And given his performance these last 2 years, I doubt he will even return to an All Star level. Like, okay, let's say Draymond Green plays for 15 years. I mean, he only made the All Star game for 3 out of those 15 years. Besides those 3 years, he was just a good role player. Like, you're not an All Star just because you had 3 years where you was really good, and the other years you was just a decent role player. That's not how that shit works. It just isn't. But whatever. Draymond Green's a star because he made the All Star game 3 years ago and hasn't played at an All Star level since. I mean, if y'all gonna sit here and tell me that Draymond Green is a star, shit. You might as well call Kevin Love a star. I mean, he hasn't made the All Star game in 3 years. He hasn't played at an All Star level in 3 years, and I doubt he will get back to an All Star level. You might as well call John Wall an All Star. John Wall, like Kevin Love, like Draymond Green, hasn't played at an All Star level in 3 years. Hasn't looked like an All Star in 3 years. Probably won't play at an All Star level the rest of his career, but hey, he was an All Star 3 years ago, so he's still a star now. Fuck out of here, man. Like, it's just ridiculous. But yeah, enough about Draymond Green. I do think. Excuse me. It's just water. I do. It's going to be an interesting postseason. My team is the Dallas Mavericks. We ain't got to worry about the play-in tournament, but last time I checked, I mean, I think in the first round we got the Clippers, which I'm not sure how to feel about that. If Porzingis doesn't get hurt, shit, we might beat them because I think we would have beat them last year if Porzingis didn't get hurt because they had no answer for Porzingis. Now, I mean, this year is different. The Clippers, they brought in Serge Ibaka, who, even though he's not the player that he once was, he's still solid on the defensive end. A lot better than Ivica Zubac. Ibaka can at least slow Porzingis down. I mean, last year, Porzingis was just dog walking the Clippers front court. So it'll be an interesting matchup. Hopefully, Porzingis doesn't get hurt again, and maybe we can pull off the upset against the Clippers. But if Paul George shows up and doesn't lay an egg in the playoffs, yeah, we might not beat them. Because yeah, we don't have an answer for Kawhi Leonard. But if Kawhi plays great, but Paul George doesn't, we definitely have a chance to beat the Clippers. But if Kawhi Leonard plays great and Paul George decides to show up and play great, they might beat us. Now, Dallas, I do believe that we can be a championship team in the near future, but we're still missing just one, maybe two more pieces. Now, I'm not so sure if Porzingis is a number two guy on a championship team. The only reason I say that is because he's made of glass. Now, when Porzingis does play, yeah, he's pretty damn good. But the problem is he get hurt too much. He misses half the season, but when he does play, he plays great. So I don't know if Porzingis stay healthy. Great, maybe we can win a championship with him as a number two guy. But if not, I don't know. Maybe we should talk to the Timberwolves to trade Porzingis for Karl Anthony Towns. Now, I mean, it's not gonna happen, but I mean, it's just wishful thinking because Mavericks. We got one Kentucky player. We got Willie Cauley Stein, but I want us to have another Kentucky player. I want us to add somebody who can be in the starting lineup and is gonna be a big difference maker. I think Towns could be that guy. Now, would Minnesota trade Karl Anthony Towns for Porzingis? I highly doubt it, but it'd be nice. I mean, one can dream. Yeah, Towns. I think I think Porzingis is a better defensive player than Towns, but as far as like being an overall basketball player goes, I would say Karl Anthony Towns is better than Porzingis. He's a better rebounder. He's a better shooter, better scorer. He doesn't get hurt as much. Really, defense is the only thing that Porzingis has on Towns. But I mean, not to take anything away from Porzingis, the unicorn is a pretty good basketball player too. Um, or I don't know, John Collins from the Hawks. Even though he ain't much of a defender, I mean, he wouldn't be a bad addition to the Mavericks either. He stretched the floor as a shooter. He's a great alley oop target. Got a little bit of a post game. Can dribble a little bit for a big man. Wouldn't mind John Collins. Now, if we could keep Porzingis and still get John Collins, that'd be great. I mean, if we could trade for Towns and I had to give up Porzingis or Luca, that would be awesome. But neither one of those scenarios are gonna happen. But again, one can dream. That's all I'm saying. So hopefully we don't draw the Clippers. I mean, hopefully instead we get like the Nuggets in the first round or shoot, who else is in the playoff picture? Suns, Jazz, Nuggets, Clippers, us, Lakers, Warriors. Blah, blah. Yeah, I mean, I'd rather play the Clip. I don't know. I'd probably rather play the Nuggets. Now, well, actually, no, no, no. Take that back. I'd rather play the Clippers. I'd rather the Mavericks play the Clippers in the first round than the Nuggets because Jokic is playing like an MVP. If I had an MVP vote, I would give it to Jokic. He's been the most consistent player this year. He hasn't been hurt this year. The Nuggets are top four, unlike the Warriors, who are eighth. So, yeah, it should be. If I had to vote for MVP, my vote would go to Nikola Jokic. I don't think there's anybody else who deserves it more than him. I mean, I guess maybe Joel Embiid, since the 76ers secured that one spot in the Eastern Conference, but Embiid get hurt too much. That's the only hang up on Joel Embiid. And if he didn't get hurt all the damn time, he'd be the best big man in the game. Now, me personally, I think AD Anthony Davis, when he's healthy, is the best big man in the game. But since he has problems staying healthy, I gotta say, I don't know. I guess I have to. I guess I'm gonna go with Jokic as the best big man in the game because he don't get hurt. And even though he's not a defensive player, he don't get hurt, and he's pretty much good at everything else. I mean, rebounds the ball well, good shooter, excellent scorer, score on any part of the floor. He makes everybody around him better. Yeah, Jokic. But anyways, yeah, it should be Jokic. If not Jokic, maybe Embiid, but I wouldn't give it a Curry. Now I'm not just saying that to be a hater, but again, you you don't deserve MVP if your team is not at least in fourth place. Now I would say this about LeBron. I would say this for Westbrook. I would say this for Giannis or anybody else who's in the MVP conversation. I'm not just saying this to pick on Curry, even though some people see it that way. It's speaking of Curry, another hot topic that I've been seeing a lot in social media. You got some people. Excuse me, I lost my train of thought there. A hot topic that I've been seeing a lot of in social media is Curry's place as an all-time great. Now, Curry, if we was only talking about shooting, yeah, Curry's the greatest shooter of all time. There's no ifs or buts about it. Stephen Curry is the greatest shooter in NBA history, and he'll probably keep that title for another 30 years or so. But that's it. That's about as far as it goes for Curry. There are some people that say Curry could finish his career as the greatest point guard of all time, and I'm just not so certain about that. Well, for one, Curry's only great on one side of the ball. Hell, he can shoot the lights out. He's arguably the best scoring point guard in the game, but Curry is an average defensive player at best. Now, you don't have to be a two-way player to be the greatest, but Curry just he besides his shooting and scoring, yeah, I can't put him at over Magic Johnson, who is the best point guard of all time in my opinion. I can't put him over Isaiah Thomas. The reason why is because Isaiah and Magic, they were better floor generals than Curry. Now, I'm not saying Curry's not a good playmaker. I'm not saying Curry doesn't make others around him better. But Isaiah and Magic were better leaders than Curry. Isaiah was a much better defender than Curry. Isaiah and Magic came through in the clutch more so than Curry did. I mean, Curry, yes, I've seen him hit some clutch shots, but I've also seen Curry fold under pressure when the going gets tough. Remember Game 7 of the 2016 NBA Finals? Winner take all. Golden State was up 3-1, and they blew a 3-1 lead. They ended up losing Game 7. Curry in Game 7 had 17 points on 6 of 19 shooting. Like that. Look, I get it. Everybody has bad games, but if you can't you can't fold under pressure like that when the going is tough, especially in a winner take all situation. Or remember Game 6 against the Raptors in the finals? Yeah, Curry scored 21 points for that game, but he went like 7 of 19 from the field. In the fourth quarter, Curry only scored 4 points and went 1 of 6 from the field. Had no assists, had 2 turnovers. Yeah, it's Curry's great, but he sometimes folds when the going gets tough. And I can't put him ahead of Magic Johnson or Isaiah Thomas because of that. I mean, now of course Magic and Isaiah were before my time, but I've seen highlights of them. I've seen replays of them. I've heard the stories of them. They didn't fold under pressure. Hell, Isaiah is, I believe he's the only basketball player all time who has a winning record against Jordan, Bird, and Magic. Now, don't quote me on that, but I could be wrong. But yeah, Curry, I think at best is the third greatest point guard of all time. I mean, maybe he can surpass Isaiah Thomas, but hey, if he's going to surpass Magic Johnson as the greatest point guard of all time, you got to at least win one Finals MVP. You got to at least have one clutch moment in the finals. That's all I'm saying. I mean, it ain't got to be a game-winning shot. I mean, you can make the game-winning. You can make a pass to one of your teammates to hit the clutch shot and win the game. And so, yeah, Curry got a little bit of work to do. He got to win a Finals MVP, at least one. He's got to have that iconic moment in the finals in order to leapfrog Isaiah and Magic. Because hell, Magic, when he was a rookie, he scored 42 points in the finals, and then he won Finals MVP as a rookie. Isaiah Thomas literally played in the finals on one leg, even though I don't think they won that series, but they did make it back to the finals the next season, and they won. So yeah, Curry, he's got some work to do if he wants to. I'm not saying it's impossible, but if Curry's gonna become the GOAT point guard, he do got a little bit of work to do. Now, can he do it though? I don't know. I mean, Golden State, they ain't winning the championship this year. Now, can they be a championship team next year when Klay Thompson is healthy? Maybe. I mean, it just depends on what kind of player Klay is going to be. Because Klay missed the 2019-20 season because of a torn ACL. And then he turns around and misses the 2020-21 season because he tore his Achilles. So, I mean, Klay is not going to be the same player. But who knows? Maybe he'll bounce back. Because, hell, Kevin Durant, he's looked pretty good when he's played. But then again, Kevin Durant is a freak of nature. Klay Thompson, not so much. Another hot NBA topic I've been seeing, of course, LeBron. Anything dealing with LeBron is going to be a hot topic. If if the Lakers win the championship again this year, it'll be 5 rings for LeBron, and yeah, a fifth ring will put LeBron at number 2 all time, no questions asked. If you ask me. Now, yeah, Jordan's the greatest player of all time. I'm not arguing against it, but it's just the GOAT conversation is annoying as hell because people act like if you like Jordan, you gotta hate LeBron, or people act like you can't give LeBron his flowers. Like you can still say Jordan's the GOAT and give LeBron his flowers, but I really don't care about the GOAT conversation as much as some others because I'm a fan of LeBron and Jordan. I love them both. I mean, it's okay to be a fan of both. I do think Jordan's number 1. LeBron is right behind him. Kobe's 3. Kareem's 4. Magic 5. That to me, 5 greatest NBA players of all time. Now, of course, that could change within the next few years or so, but for right now, that's who I think is the 5 greatest NBA players of all time: Jordan, LeBron, Kobe, Kareem, Magic. Argue with your mama. But yeah, now Curry, as far as Curry goes, yeah, back to I gotta jump back on Curry real quick. Yeah, I think he's top 20 all time, but people lose me when they try to put Curry in the GOAT conversation. Like some guy in this Facebook group say, "Oh, Curry has surpassed LeBron as an all-time player." And I'm just like, "Do what? No, he hasn't." I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Curry. I respect Curry. He's a great basketball player, but he ain't surpassed LeBron. Shoot, he still has about 15 other players to surpass before he can get to LeBron. Yeah, Curry, without question, is the greatest shooter of all time. But fans lose me when they try to put Curry in the GOAT conversation. He ain't there. He probably won't get there either. So enough of that shit. Uh, I don't think there was any other NBA topics that I wanted to cover, but yeah, I just had to mention that about Curry not shouldn't he shouldn't win MVP because his team's in 8th place. Now, if Curry by chance does win the MVP, I ain't gonna be upset, but I that's just me. That's just what I think. I I don't think a player deserves MVP if his team is not at least top 4. Now, of course, when I make these opinions, whether it's on Curry, LeBron, or whatever the hell opinion I'm giving y'all, that's just mine. I'm not trying to get y'all to change yours. But hey, I mean, feel free to leave a comment with your opinion because I do want to hear from y'all. But that's just all. That's just all I'm saying. That's my opinion. I'm not trying to change yours. Before I go, if you haven't, I got some show recommendations for you. If you haven't watched Invincible on Amazon Prime, please do so. It's a great show. If you haven't watched The Boys on Amazon Prime, please do so because that show is also great. I would also recommend The Nevers on HBO Max. I would recommend Damn It Michael Shea on HBO Max. I think that's what it's called. Damn It Michael Shea or That Damn Michael Shea, something like that. But it's a good show. I would also, to all the Lucifer fans out there, Lucifer season 5 part 2 comes back May 28th. So mark your calendars. Lucifer's coming. All right, y'all. It's another podcast for y'all. Tune in next week. I'll have another one for you. Y'all have a great Sunday.